morning. Happy Tuesday. And so, hope you had a good day yesterday. So this morning I was praying and thinking, what can I talk to you about today? I keep hearing in my head over and over and over, use your voice. Life and death is in the tongue. And so, it's how we use it to go about things and to have an understanding. But this morning, it's about your mind. What comes out of your mouth is what's in your head. And so, you got to change what's in your mind. And that's definitely a battlefield. That's where the enemy can get you and take you down. I know he certainly did for me. I talked about voices in your head. And your head is your mind. And, what you think in your mind is really how you act. What you believe in your mind is how you live. So you've got to change the script in your mind and fill it with positive things. Speak truth, speak life. If you are speaking death to yourself, if you are acting out in life in a negative way, you cannot possibly have a positive life. And the thing about your mind is you're in charge of that. No one else is in charge of that. You can fill your mind with what you want to fill your mind with. Nobody can make you think anything unless you give power to them to allow you to think that. So your mind is very strong. You have power in it that you never knew. I can only reference this to my talks with my kids at school because I just have an amazing job where I get to teach kids, to help them de-escalate, to help them think different. And I love it, and I feel like I'm walking in purpose. And like the biggest thing that I try to get the kids to recognize is the other side. So we all have a script in our head. We all have perception. We all have a story. Every story is different through the lens of whoever is telling it. And so it might not even be truth, but it's your truth. And if it's your truth, it's what you're believing. So I think to be able to understand the other person's story, you have to kind of like step outside of your story and look through their lens. And Bishop Jakes talks about that being a 360 mindset instead of a 180. Is if you can see both sides of the story, then you have a fuller circle, a 360 mindset that will help you be able to think different, to be able to understand, to be able to show empathy, compassion, maybe even forgiveness. And that is what you want to strive for, is to be able to get to the root, to understand why is this happening, or why are they saying that, so that you can dispel the lies that maybe, or the hurt and pain that's being thrown at you. If you can just understand that maybe that person is hurting, maybe that person's in pain, maybe that person is experiencing that in their life. Because I know the kids that I teach, lately I have been really calling them out on their verbal abuse. And I said, you really have to stop that. And I called it what it was. And I can just, one of the kids just stopped dead in their track. And they said, Miss Carter-Smith, you said that I was verbally abusive. And I said, that's what it's called. You are verbally abusive and you have no right to be. And they said, well, I'm very angry. They, make me mad. They're this, and, the F words coming out of their mouth, the B word. I mean, you name it, they're saying it. And I'm like, that gives you no right to verbally abuse somebody. Like, when you get mad, you don't verbally abuse. And so I told them, I was like, you've got to stop that cycle. That's a cycle. That's a habit. And if you want to have kids and you want to love on them like you never got loved on, you have to stop that cycle now, and you have to change your mindset, and you have to call it what it is, and you have to say what it is, and you have to work really hard on it. And they stopped dead in their tracks and they started thinking. And I saw their brain just going. And so, when they go to say something now and I look at them and I'm like, give them that look, and they're like, oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I said, don't be sorry to me. Like, I'm glad you're trying to work on that. And so, we do things not always knowing why we do them. We think things, we believe lies for years. And, it's when you start changing your mind, you change your life. When you start changing the way you think and the way you walk and the way you talk and the way you act, you're going to get different results. I know, speaking for myself, I would have never thought I would be in front of this camera trying to share any wisdom, because I didn't have any. I mean, I had some, but I was really defeated. The enemy had really taken control of my mind in a way of making me believe so many lies about myself and so many lies about my life and my condition and how it just was never going to be different. And I was trapped. I'm not trapped anymore. I'm walking in freedom, and I know that you can too. And it takes steps and it's hard work. It's putting yourself, not selfishly a priority, but just allowing yourself to be, needs to be met. Like, so many people, like at my studio in my Keys of Freedom, I have women telling me that they're so overextended, like they were so codependent that they never ever put themselves a priority or first, and they were everything to everybody, and that they lacked boundaries. And that's so true. I was that person too. I felt I fought for boundaries. Well, I didn't even fight for boundaries. I knew I needed to rest, and I knew I needed to have help and to slow down, but for some reason I had believed the lie that I had to do it all and do it all myself, and not trust and not rely on others to do it. So but once again, that's a mindset, and I was trapped in it. I was believing that mindset, and the only thing that brought about change was God's truth. I started really seeking the scriptures. I started filling myself up with the word and listening to podcast after podcast, educating myself on things that I knew I was inadequate on, like boundaries. I read books, lots of books. I listened to podcasts, and I started slowly implementing those in my life. And as I educated myself, and it became a process in my mind, and I started thinking different, then I started acting different. And then when I act different, I got different results. And so, that's what it is. Head knowledge is just that. You've got to put things into action. But, you've got to reach outside of yourself. And we're only limited to our exposure, our environments, our circle of people, our family. And, we all know that everybody has issues. Every family is dysfunctional to a degree. It's the fallen world and man. Nobody's perfect, nor do we do it right. And it's okay. It's really recognizing that truth and taking what's inadequate in you and working on becoming your best self. And it's not just about your best self, but learning to become more like Christ and what he says about the situation, how he wants you to respond, how he wants you to act. And it's like the fruits of the Holy Spirit. He's going to give you those things if you're walking close to him and in relationship. It's not anything in your own strength. And that's the thing that I didn't recognize, is like, I can't do this, and I can't do that, and I can't do that. And you know what? I couldn't. I tried. My human capacity could not allow me to forgive. It really couldn't. But God and his word and him renewing my mind, I really was able to forgive. And that is when that happened, a whole new world opened up to me, a whole new level of awareness when I was set free from condemnation, shame, mainly in forgiving myself, but forgiving others as well. And not just forgiving others, but not placing blame on others, not blaming them for doing this or doing that, or if they said that, that's why I said that, or, I was able to be set free in a sense that I was no better than that person. I brought things to the table, and that were dysfunctional and weren't healthy, and not to beat myself up, but to recognize why, the root of why I was doing it, and to recognize why, the root of why they were doing it, and to see the other person like God sees them, and to see myself the way God saw me, and to just face truth and just say, you know what, this is what happened, and this is the way it is, and this is what happened, and so how are you going to fix that? How are you going to change that? And that power doesn't lie in anybody else, guys. That power lies within yourself. And I'll leave you with this, but my last story that I have is, we've all seen The Wizard of Oz, or at least if you haven't, you need to. And my kids at school, the music teacher was watching Wizard of Oz, and I told her, I was like, hey, I want to do a life lesson about Wizard of Oz, and I never got around to it for absences or whatever. But the story behind The Wizard of Oz, in my mind, what I take from it is those ruby red slippers were majorly important. Okay, Dorothy landed in the Oz. She got the red shoes. She was walking down the yellow brick road trying to talk to everyone. How do I get home? How do I get home? And seeking everybody, and they kept leading her to the Great Oz. And she gets to the Great Oz, and things happened, and but I remember, I think it was Glinda, the good fairy or the witch or whatever, she said, those shoes that you have on your feet, if you just click them 3 times, you will be home. And that hit me so hard in studying The Wizard of Oz again, is those shoes were on Dorothy's feet. She didn't need anybody. All she needed someone to do was tell her that the power lies in those shoes. So guys, our God is awesome, and He is the one that controls everything and helps move mountains and all that. But He also has given us red shoes. We have the glitter shoes. We have the word. We have the knowledge. And if we don't have the knowledge, we have the ability to get it. And all we have to do is have someone tell us how to use those red slippers, what to do with those red slippers. Click your feet, okay? Click your feet or heels, and you got it, okay? So I'm just telling you today, the power lies within you. You have to tap into the source, the light, God. He's the power source. He will tell you how to use those shoes. He will renew your mind. He will give you direction. He will give you the roadmap. He will give you step by step. He's ordered your steps. And so, yeah, I want to leave you with that. And I'm getting a phone call. So have a great day. Thanks.